Philadelphia, are you ready?
They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
There's been a conversation online a couple of times lately about Canadian talent needing more exposure.
Okay.
And one of the things that I think maybe people on both sides of the border don't understand is the geography of Canada versus the United States. And I've lived in the States, so I understand this. My driving limit comes in at about somewhere between 7 and 8 hours. When I was good, when I was young, I could do about 7-8 hours, and even on my own and work. From Toronto, that gets me to Cincinnati or Philadelphia or New York. But the thing is, when I was in Pittsburgh, that 8-hour limit could take me a lot more places, a lot more cities. United States, pluck down a pin anywhere, and you can go in all directions and find a city in whatever your driving range is. Canada is a long, thin ribbon of population. 90%, and this stat might be out of date, but let's go with it. All right. 90% of the population of Canada lives within 100 miles of the US border. So if you think about the size and breadth of Canada, that's a long, thin ribbon, mostly along that border. So for you to get to, I've never wrestled in BC or Alberta or Saskatchewan or Manitoba or New Brunswick or Nova Scotia or Newfoundland or Prince Edward Island. That's 8 out of 10 provinces that I've not wrestled in. And
I thought you were just making up words there for a second.
Fuck off. Hey, listen, I've seen the way you people name shit in Eastern Pennsylvania. All right? What's the Schuylkill or Schuylkill?
First of all, it's Schuylkill.
Schuylkill. Whatever. Yeah. Don't give me shit about making up names. But
It was named after Lord Schuylkiltonian of Eastshire.
Who'd he ever beat?
He went fucking toe-to-toe with Andre.
Yeah, my 8-hour, my 7-8 hour driving limit, it gets me to Montreal, but not much further. It gets me to Montreal or Ottawa or Windsor. There's not much else. There's not many other major centers. So, for Canadian talent, there's so much of it and it's so concentrated. But to break out, you got to make that trip across the border and then start spreading out. You've got to make it to Philly and New York and Pittsburgh and Detroit and Chicago. So it becomes longer and longer trips, and those areas have their own people. I don't know what the fucking point of this was anymore. Other than you get it's. I think it's a little tougher for the talent up here to get in as many reps as you could in the States because of the ease of access to more and more promotions. So the fact that the talent up here is so goddamn good and so honed and so ready is, I think, a reason in and of itself that you guys down there, American fans, should make the effort to look into talent up here. Just because, find the smashes and the super kicks and the alpha ones and the 365 wrestlings. You're going to FLQ in Montreal. You're going to find some really, really top-notch talent. You're going to discover something new. You're gonna feel like a fucking explorer. You're gonna feel like Magellan. You've crossed the oceans, and wow, there's a whole new landmass here.
I do got to say, first and foremost, our wives will thank you for turning us on to even more wrestling to take up our time. So I'm sure they will love that we have more wrestling to watch.
I'm not beholden to your wives. That's your problem, boy.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah. You like sleeping indoors, don't you?
Yes. Very much. Well, that's the thing. When we were talking about doing a wrestling podcast and whatnot, that's the thing that is the toughest, is that to commit to, because that's basically what you have to do. You have to commit to one, like, I don't want to say brand, but one style. Like, you can't, it's so hard to do everything. Like, if you were to do WWE, NXT, AEW, the independents, anything that's happening, well, right now it's a little easier because there's not nearly as many as there would be. But
yeah,
I feel like to be truly good at this, you have to be good.
Show text. This is a well-known thing for my podcast, is that it doesn't matter what time of day or night I record, I will get a text message in the middle of it. And
That's all right.
and for the beginning of last year, I was recording at 4 a.m. every night when I got home from work. So now he's just going to keep texting. I was recording at 4 a.m. and I was still getting the show text. And for a while, Space Monkey, because he's a fucking annoyance, was deliberately texting me at like 4:05 a.m. every night, hoping to interrupt the show.
You had a guest without really having a guest.
Yeah, well, there were times where I would just, this is about Big E's Kickstarter. Okay. There were times where I, like, hey, listen, if you're gonna text me, you're inviting yourself onto the show. So
Yeah, you're up, you're on.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, baby. I did my Monday podcast as a solo cast. Mostly because, last night at 11 o'clock, I just didn't feel like bothering anybody. I went through my list on Facebook and I was like, what's Shane Taylor doing? But by the time he got back to me, I was like, no, I don't want to bother Shane. I'm just going to record this thing. I'm going to go to bed. Anyways, I'm sorry. That bullshit interrupted you, man. I want to counter something you said, though. Okay. I don't think you need to specialize. I don't think you need to specialize or center on one promotion or another to create a good podcast. I think if you're doing a wrestling podcast, okay, as opposed to a WWE podcast or an AEW podcast, because hey, AEW has a podcast, right? You can do a wrestling podcast and be diverse about it, and you can talk to some old timer from the 60s or 70s and ask him how is wrestling different today, and then just let him fucking curse at you for an hour. And you can talk to the indie guy, and you can talk to if you can get through the PR department, you can talk to the guy from the WWE.
They ain't happening.
I know.
They got a PR department we got to go through? I didn't even know that.
At a certain point,
I thought I had to sell a limb to Vince, and he would have been like, yeah, maybe. It depends on what you're giving me.
Yeah. At a certain point, you get used to, it's like, hey, my friend signed with WWE. And then like the countdown to when they have to unfollow you on Twitter. I say terrible things. Yeah. But you can be diverse, and the same way we're talking about as a fan, as a viewer, there is a lot of different wrestling out there, and you can find what appeals to you. You can also watch a ton of shit if your wife doesn't hit you with a rolling pin. You can watch a ton of shit. You can talk a ton of shit. Yeah, you can talk about any type of wrestling you want. Hey, beginning of the year, do an episode about Wrestle Kingdom. The middle of the year, do an episode about Shimmer and just women's promotions. Whatever you want. It's all wrestling, man. It's all wrestling.
Let me put it this way. I don't feel as if I'm as what's the word?
Versed?
Yeah, versed in everything. Like, it's so hard to keep up with everything and to watch everything. For me, I mean, just schedule-wise, it's just tough. Like, I got to kind of pick through it and then catch cliff notes on everything else, and then catch
sure.
Just like in school, the cliff notes, you always like, oh yeah, I got a great idea. And then you go and talk to someone that actually read the damn book, and you're like, oh, they know I have no fucking clue what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. But then I would suggest okay, here's one of my roundabout answers. There was a radio guy up here for years named Bob McCowan, a sports guy. And he did a show called Primetime Sports. And back when I was still sportscasting myself, and I still gave a shit about, professional sports, I grew more and more to enjoy his show as opposed to anything else that were on these all sports stations, because his show wasn't people calling in because I've got a trade idea that makes no fucking sense, or people calling in to argue about the scores. It wasn't just contract talk, because that's one of the things that drove me away from pro sports. I don't give a shit about you. Fucking just play a game, man. Primetime Sports was a lot about sports issues. So yeah, there was talk about collective bargaining agreements, but there would also be an episode where he talked about recruitment for the Metro Toronto Hockey League, which was like kids hockey, 8 and 10 and 12-year-olds, and how there were problems with people crossing the established borders to recruit kids for their teams. And that was an hour discussion with the president of the MTHL and the Ontario Hockey League, which is junior hockey, the 16 to 18-year-olds who are gonna go to the NHL maybe someday. He could talk about the issues behind the games. If you don't know the minutia of every stupid fucking angle that some promotion is running, sure, you can ask them about it, but maybe there are other questions that you want to talk about. You can find an angle on anybody. If you give me, I don't know, Tomohiro Ishii tomorrow as a guest on my show, I'm probably not going to talk to him about the match he had last week. I'm probably going to ask him about Shibata's headbutts and that putting him out of fucking wrestling. And, does does Japan have the same kind of his days as a young boy, at a dojo, or the size difference that he comes up against? There's everybody's got a story, everybody's got interesting shit to talk about. It doesn't all have to be, hey, what did you think of last night's show? So I hated last night's show.
I was going to be funny and be like, so what'd you think of last night's show?
Some of us did a watch along online, and I don't know, I'm not excited by a lot of the current product. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's necessarily bad wrestling.
Does that
It's
go?
that I'm not.
Does that go across the board, or is that just
WWE?
No, you know what? WWE, I'm not as engaged with these days. AEW, I watch Dynamite. I fast forward through Dark.
because there's certain people you want to see?
No, because it's a new roster, and some of it is, same as it ever was. Some of it isn't. Some of it is noticeably different from WWE. Some of it isn't. Some of it is the same old. But it's a different roster, and I'm compelled to watch. If I get my wrestling fix these days, I'd rather watch AEW. For a couple of years, I was very invested in New Japan, and I still, if you had to ask me what my favorite promotion is, it would probably still be New Japan. But I've been watching less wrestling overall since the pandemic started, which is weird. I've been watching less wrestling overall, and there is a convenience factor with AEW and a let's see what they do with this opportunity factor that makes me watch. So, yeah.
The opportunity as a company, or the opportunity as certain stars, and the time?
The opportunity, everything, but a lot of it is the opportunity with the company, because there have been lots of companies that, in my egregiously long time around professional wrestling, have come and go. Like, I mean, I ring announced for XPW in Philly. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That was almost 20 years. That's 20 years ago. And they had an opportunity, and they had a short window to do something. And the owner, he crapped the bed outside of wrestling. Look that story up.
That's going to be on Dark Side of the Ring.
Okay, well,
this next season, they just released the list, and
XPW
is one of them.
Jesus Christ, they fucking email me every year asking me for ideas about casting. I don't remember getting that. Maybe I just didn't read that email. Sometimes I don't read emails. Which side note, I played D'Lo Brown on the Owen Hart episode.
Do you really?
Yeah, I am a year older than D'Lo Brown, and I was playing D'Lo Brown from 20 years ago. I had to shave off most of my beard, which is a sin. This beard covers a large portion of just
face
crime. Like, I apologize for this zone here. I'm sorry. The beard is for you. But AEW there's been a lot of companies that have come and gone and had an opportunity to grow. And frankly, AEW probably has the best chance of any company since ECW and WCW died, because of their deep pockets. They have a better chance than even Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor would probably have been my pick for best chance until AEW came along. So I'm interested to see how they grow, how far they can get. And it's not I'm not waiting for some company to come along and topple the WWE dynasty. No, people call facial tissue Kleenex, right? That brand name is the way it's thought of. Jello, they're brand names that become synonymous with the product. Wrestling, in most people's mind, is that WWE stuff. It's they're not
Depending
gonna,
on how
unless
old you are, they still say that WWF stuff.
WWF.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, based on how old you are. So
I would still call it the WWF if I could.
I still call it the Fed, which is just old time wrestler bullshit. But yeah, it's interesting to see, empires rise and fall. So I'm interested in what AEW is doing.
I think they have you said they have the best chance. I think that's because wrestling is mainstream wrestling is still kind of in a lull. And that's when the other companies can come in and not like swoop in and save the day, but take some of those eyes and gear them to them. Like change it up just enough to be like, all right, we can pick up on what they're lacking and hope to grow from there. Once we get the eyes, hopefully more will come.
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking about what I just said, and I'm wondering, did I discount TNA as far as companies that had the best chance? I don't know. And TNA and Ring of Honor
they caught fire, and then
different products. So
they did that telltale side where they spent a shitload of money on a bunch of old people that weren't gonna grow your company, and that was kind of TNA's downside.
Yeah, well,
who they gave power to.
Well, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. I mean, see what he did to
I got nothing good to say.
It's the same thing he did to everywhere he's been except for the Federation.
Because Vince is in power there.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
Yeah, but he's still Hulk Hogan's top job is getting Hulk Hogan over. Anyways, I don't want to talk about Hulk Hogan.
I feel like we're gonna go down a dark alley.
Yeah.
Listen. In the grand scheme of professional wrestling, I'm a speck on a fly's butt compared to Hulk Hogan, but no interest in that guy. He's voted himself off the island as far as I'm concerned as a human being.
Does it upset you that when you still mention professional wrestling that he's still the most named name?
Hey, it's not like he's not the linchpin that grows the sport in the 80s. I mean, absolutely. That is wrestling on his back that, takes. McMahon found the perfect fucking person. Why did I have problems calling him a person? The word I wanted was product. He found the perfect product to put the brand on and carry the business forward. And wrestling is cyclical through the early days of television, where it's cheap and easy to produce, and it's it's flashy and it's movement, so it's great on screen for people, and wrestling flourishes to it coming around again, the 70s and the 80s, and again in the the late 90s. And it's always, the business is always going to be up and down. It's cyclical. But so there's no denying that at that time in the mid 80s that Hulk Hogan has a gigantic role in revitalizing wrestling and turning the WWF into a national promotion and laying the foundation for what it is today, $1 billion company.
All right, so
But there's a lot of people
okay, I was
who
going
have
to ask you.
made a lot of advancements. Hey, look, Elon Musk might save fucking humanity, but he's a piece of shit as a human being. He is garbage as a human being. Jeff Bezos.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Amazon gets you shit tomorrow when you need it. There's here in Canada, the Northern Territories, the Arctic. Amazon is responsible for keeping people alive more than fucking Canada Post is, because they're reliable delivery. But Jeff Bezos is a fucking piece of shit. That doesn't mean that some people aren't better off because he's existed.
Mhm.
It's the evil. It's evil genius.
So do you think?
I'm not a big fan of Hulk Hogan.
Do you think that John Cena is now the front runner when people like today think of wrestling? Do you think that John?
No, it's still The Rock. It's still The Rock.
Okay.
When the average non-wrestling citizen thinks about wrestling, Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, Ric Flair.
Yeah,
He's down there.
Still.
Yeah, because Ric Flair is a cultural icon now.
Mhm.
For I could probably give you a half dozen rap songs
I was gonna say
about or called Ric Flair.
Yeah.
He's got Dame Lillard's shoes.
Yes.
The Ric Flair
Ric
shoes.
Flair's, the Dame
Yeah.
Sevens.
Yeah. So those are. But I mean, hey, listen. I live in the land of hockey.
Yes.
Most people still think Gretzky.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, but here's the thing.
Gretzky, Bobby Orr, guys who haven't played in decades.
I would still think Gretzky though. I
Yeah.
would like when you.
Crosby and Ovechkin don't overtake him.
No. Ovechkin's gonna overtake him for goals scored in a career,
Yeah.
but he's
But
not
as
gonna
far as that
overtake him.
name,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there will always be.
He's
one,
not the flag bearer.
There will always be one that you can't have. Oh, I'm the other great one. No, there's just the great one. Like, I'm that other guy. I'm like this. Like
Well, hey, there's been at least 3 Nature Boys I know.
Yes, but when you think Nature Boy, you
Yeah.
think Ric Flair.
Yeah, most people aren't bringing up Buddy Landell unless they were friends of Buddy Landell, which is a shame. Because Buddy Landell was great. I love Buddy Landell. So, yeah.
So, also, I did want to ask, because you passed over a little bit, have you seen what Ring of Honor has been doing, bringing back the pure title and the pure wrestling back to the company?
I know they have. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched Ring of Honor in a while now, and I've got friends there, and I wish them well. The fact that it's a Sinclair Broadcasting product is kind of a turnoff for me, just because of who Sinclair Broadcasting are. There goes me making sure I never get a job. I have a problem. I have a problem with far right wing media.
Okay.
So, but I love Ring of Honor. I want them to do well. I love the fact that more of the boys have a place to work, and girls, that there's a place for them to work. So no shit. I want that heavyweight title on Shane Taylor.
That's the third time you name drop Shane.
It's the third. I thought it was the second. No, Shane Taylor is a friend of mine going back.
Now it's definitely the third. I made sure you.
Yeah, all right. Well, no, this is still one section. This is still go for broke. I like Shane Taylor.
I think he's deserving, and he's earned this. He's getting a major push now in Ring of Honor. He's going to be challenging for the world title. I mean, he's played that guy who's been held down for so long, and it's only a matter of time until you're gonna get to see what he can do. And you shouldn't be shocked when you see him. I mean,
No,
he's
is
been literally telling you that he's going to be doing this, and he's finally getting there. No one should be shocked.
no, he is absolutely fantastic. He's one of those guys that I put that name into the hat and say, it doesn't matter who I pull out. If it's Shane Taylor, I know I'm getting good match.
Very underrated in styles that he's able to mesh with.
Yep.
Because I've seen him fit in with the smallest to the biggest, and there's no like, okay, well, this is gonna be. There's no like, he doesn't miss a step.
Yeah, no, brother can work. Brother is good in the ring.
And he knows how to work the mic, and he knows how to play to the crowd, and he knows how to get his point across, not only on the mic, but in the match as well.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. I'll name drop people that I believe in. I gave you a whole list of people earlier because those are people that I believe in. And I want people to know their names. I have an opportunity. I'm doing a podcast with some guys in Philadelphia. I want you to know their fucking names. I want you to look for them online and say, why haven't I seen this guy before? And then go to go to VXS or go to whoever is running the arena, go to whatever promotion you go to and say, hey, you know who you should bring in? This guy. You should get the Space Pirates, Shane Saber and Space Monkey. You should have them in. They're a great tag team. I've seen their shit. Here, I'll send you a link. Or, BMD or Holden Albright, especially Holden Albright. And my cat just passed underneath my chair. So I am a few minutes away from getting clawed in the leg.
Full circle.
Yep. All the way back to the beginning.
Yep.
Hi. How are you?
That's what we like to call a podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
So I think we'll end it there. Be actually a good way to stop.
Okay, so this is probably the time I get to shill my bullshit, right?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
All right, this is my podcast, The Handsome Genius Club. Mondays and Thursdays online. Episodes available Mondays and Thursdays at 6 a.m. so that you can download it on your way to work. handsomegeniusclub.com. It is also available via iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can find me online in all the usual places at My Name is Kingdom. So Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. I've started doing some stuff on Twitch. And the all-important Patreon. Give me your fucking money. Patreon.com/My Name is Kingdom. And find me, holler at me, send me money for Band-Aids because the cat is getting restless. And this Thursday, I don't know when this episode is going online tomorrow for you guys.
This episode will be released Friday.
Yeah, Friday morning.
Friday. Oh shit. Okay. Well, yesterday, let's play the time game. Yesterday, my episode of the podcast was with Jody Threat. Go back and find it. It's a great episode. I'm so glad I finally got her on the show. And then I haven't confirmed stuff for next week, so I shouldn't say names because that's just.
So just make sure you look for it.
Yeah. Go through the archive, download the whole thing, blah, 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 hits, money, advertising, doodly doo, whatever. Fuck. Just throw a snowball made out of money at me.
Is that Ned Flanders?
Doodly doo. Yes, doodly doo is that's Ned Flanders saying fuck. Why, that's the loudest profanity I've ever heard. Yeah. So that's my it's right here under my phone. I'm gonna sell a book for another dude. I'm trying to make sure I don't get a glare on that.
You're good. Yeah, no. Right,
okay.
Perfect. Yep.
Austin 316 facts and stories about Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, why the hell would I, of all people, 30-year indie wrestling jagoff, talk to you about a book about Stone Cold Steve Austin? Well, that's because hang on. No, let's find one I really like. That's because I drew shit in it. I write comic books, and I occasionally draw things. And through another wrestling writer, a fantastic fellow I've known through wrestling since the mid 80s, named Greg Oliver. You can look for his website, Slam Wrestling. Greg hooked me up with the publishers of this book as they were looking for an artist. And this is written by a guy named Michael McAvenny, who has written for DC Comics, and he's written for the WWE. And I provided a sample, and they liked my style. And so I ended up doing 12 illustrations for this book that comes out appropriately enough on March 16th, 3/16. Easy way to remember it. So yeah, buy this book, because the more it sells, the more likely ECW Press is to come back to me and say, hey, things worked out. We'd like to hire you again. There you go.
In other words, just put more money in your pocket, basically.
Fuck yeah. Why the fuck not? What do you got against putting money in my pocket? I'm a good guy.
He's Canadian.
Hey, and American money comes in at 30% exchange. So yes, money me, just money me.
So Anthony, man, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate
Thanks for having me, guys,
time and talking with us, and just popping on our timeline and saying you'll just be on the show when we really didn't have a show today. So it actually filled a lot of time. It was great.
It's a
You
show
send
that
Tim
wasn't a show
Malone
that
a
did-
thank you. Tim Malone is responsible for this unholy marriage.
Yep. All right. Thanks again, and have a good night.
Thanks, guys.